For a long time, Earth had been silent among the stars. The Galactic Council, a group of ancient and powerful civilizations, never cared about humans. To them, Earth was a small blue planet filled with a young, unpredictable species. The Council had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They made laws, controlled trade, and kept peace between alien empires. But when they spoke of Earth, they laughed. Humans. They fight each other for land and oil, one alien once said. They destroy their own world and call it progress, another added. So, when the message finally came, no one on Earth believed it. The signal arrived on a quiet night at NASA's Deep Space Station in Arizona. The computers picked up a strange code, a sequence that didn't match any known signal. It wasn't random. It was a language. Dr. Amelia Reed, one of America's top scientists, stared at the screen. This isn't from Earth," she whispered. Within hours, the President of the United States was informed. Then, the United Nations. Soon, every major nation on Earth knew humanity had been contacted by the Galactic Council. The message was short and direct. Earth, your request for Council membership has been reviewed. You are invited to send one representative to present your case. You have 72 hours. The world went silent. For decades, Earth had tried to reach out to alien civilizations. They had sent probes, signals, and messages into deep space, all ignored. Now, suddenly, they were invited. Captain Ethan Cole, a decorated American astronaut and commander of the USS Voyager Prime, was chosen as Earth's first representative. A soldier turned diplomat, Ethan was known for his calm mind and unbreakable courage. When his ship left orbit, millions watched from Earth. The launch wasn't just another mission. It was humanity's first step into the political heart of the galaxy. After weeks of travel through wormholes and jump gates, Voyager Prime arrived at Arinder, the Council's homeworld, a massive city planet covered in silver towers and glowing blue skies. Ethan had seen a lot in his life. War. Space. Death. But nothing could prepare him for the sight of the Council chamber. It was larger than a city. Thousands of seats circled a shining center platform. Floating holograms of alien languages danced in the air. Every species, some with wings, others made of crystal, smoke, or light, turned to look at him. The whispers began immediately. Is that a human? They actually came. Why would the Council waste time on them? Ethan walked to the center platform, feeling their eyes on him. His translator device hummed softly as he spoke. On behalf of Earth, he began, I thank the Council for this invitation. Humanity seeks peace, cooperation, and understanding among the stars. Laughter echoed through the chamber. A tall, insect-like alien named Counselor Vexar leaned forward. Peace, he said, his mandibles clicking. Your species has had more wars in 2 centuries than my people have had in 10,000 years. Another alien added, you destroy your own forests. You poison your oceans. Why should we trust you among the stars? Ethan didn't flinch. His face stayed calm. Because, he said quietly, we learn fast. And when we stand together, there's nothing we can't overcome. The room fell silent for a moment, just a moment before the Council speaker, a glowing being of energy, declared, Earth's membership will be discussed. You may wait outside. Ethan turned and walked away. He knew their answer was already decided. But as he reached the exit, an alarm sounded. Red lights flashed. Sirens screamed. Every alien voice in the chamber turned sharp with panic. A holographic map appeared in the air, a border system near the Council's edge. Entire colonies were vanishing. No distress calls, no escape pods. Just silence. Counselor Vexar shouted, it's impossible. Those worlds are protected. Another voice cried, something is consuming them. Ethan stopped and looked back at the chaos. What's happening? He asked. No one answered him. The speaker finally said, "It's classified. Return to your ship." But as Ethan walked away, one small alien scientist, a nervous being with translucent skin, slipped a data chip into his hand. "Human," it whispered, "they will never tell you the truth. The threat comes from beyond the edge. If they do nothing, we all die." Ethan looked down at the chip, its surface pulsing with faint blue light. "What is this?" he asked. "Coordinates," the alien said. "To the last signal sent by the lost colonies." Back on Voyager Prime, Ethan loaded the data. The coordinates pointed to a dark, empty region of space, a place no ship ever returned from. His second in command, Commander Sarah Blake, stared at the map. "Sir, those coordinates are forbidden," she said. "Council ships won't go there." Ethan looked out the window at the distant stars. "Then it's up to us," he said quietly. "If they won't go, we will." As Voyager Prime turned toward the darkness, Earth's first representative to the Galactic Council broke the rules on his very first day. Far behind him, the Council chamber continued to argue, unaware that humanity was about to make history. And deep in that silent region of space, something watched them approach. Something old. Something waiting. The stars looked calm. Peaceful. But Captain Ethan Cole knew better. Space was never truly quiet. Somewhere in that dark region, the one the Council feared, something was moving. Something powerful enough to erase entire colonies. The USS Voyager Prime entered the Forbidden Zone. The ship's lights dimmed, sensors flickered, and strange signals danced across the radar. It felt like the darkness itself was alive. Commander Sarah Blake stood beside Ethan, watching the glowing display. "Sir, the scanners can't make sense of this," she said. "It's like the stars are disappearing." Ethan frowned. "No," he replied. "Something's eating them." They followed the signal from the lost colonies, a weak pulse repeating every 10 seconds. When they reached its source, everyone on the bridge froze. Before them floated the remains of a planet. It wasn't broken apart, it was hollowed out, like something had drilled straight through its core. Huge metal fragments drifted slowly in the dark, glowing faintly blue. Lieutenant Ramirez whispered, "Sir, what could do that?" Ethan didn't answer. His eyes locked on something moving near the planet's shadow, a swarm of black shapes, thousands of them, gliding like a living storm. The ship's AI, Liberty, spoke in a calm voice. "Warning, unknown entities detected. Composition nanometal. Power levels increasing rapidly." "Nanometal?" Sarah asked. "Machines." Ethan nodded slowly. "A machine swarm, feeding on what's left." Before they could react, the swarm changed direction. It moved toward them fast. "Shields up," Ethan ordered. "All engines reverse." The black storm hit like a wave. The ship shook violently. Sparks flew across the bridge. Red lights filled the room. "Damage report," Ethan shouted. "Rear shields down to 40%. Ramirez called out. "Hull integrity failing." Sarah gritted her teeth. "We can't fight this, sir. We need to run." Ethan looked at the view screen. The swarm wasn't chasing them, it was scanning them. Then, as suddenly as it attacked, it stopped. The machines froze in space, forming a strange pattern like symbols written in the dark. Liberty translated the signal. "You are not of the Council. You should not be here. Leave, or be consumed." Ethan took a deep breath. "They can talk. Or warn us," Sarah said. "They gave us a choice." Ethan leaned forward. "No. They gave them a choice, not us. The Council ignored this. We won't." He sent the message back to the Council, along with every recording. But by the time the Council responded, the situation had already worsened. On Arinder, panic filled the Council chamber. The swarm had moved fast and was now heading toward a populated world named Velora Prime, home to over 5 billion beings. Counselor Vixar slammed his claws on the table. It's impossible. Those creatures cannot cross that much space so quickly. Another shouted, we must fortify. Evacuate the outer systems. But none of them wanted to act. For hours, they argued. Who would fight? Who would pay? Who would risk their fleets? Every race waited for someone else to move first. And then, a new hologram appeared. Captain Ethan Cole. Council members, he said, his voice steady, your debates are wasting time. That swarm will reach Velora Prime in 72 hours. Councillor Vixar hissed, human. You have no right to speak here. Ethan ignored him. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm warning you. He turned to face the entire chamber. If the council won't defend its people, then Earth will. We'll go to Velora Prime ourselves. A wave of gasps filled the hall. You'll die, someone said. Humans can't face that alone, another shouted. Ethan just smiled. We've been told that before. And with that, he ended the transmission. Back on Voyager Prime, the crew prepared for war. Hundreds of engineers worked through the night, upgrading weapons and shields. Drones loaded ammunition. Fighters launched for recon. Sarah stood beside Ethan in the hangar. Sir, the council won't send backup, she said quietly. We'll be alone. Ethan looked around at his crewmen and women who had come to represent an entire planet. We're not alone, he said. We've got each other. That's enough. 2 days later, Voyager Prime arrived at Velora Prime. The planet below glowed bright with cities and oceans, but fear filled the skies. Civilians were evacuating. Council fleets were retreating. Look at them, Ramirez muttered. They're running. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Not us. The swarm appeared at the edge of the system, a sea of metal stretching across the stars. The council fleets that stayed opened fire, but their shots vanished into the darkness like raindrops in the ocean. Ethan took command. All ships, form a shield line above the planet. Focus fire on the swarm's center mass. The battle began. Flashes of light filled the void. Thousands of human missiles exploded, tearing through the outer layer of the swarm. For every piece destroyed, 10 more appeared. The ship's AI reported. Enemy adapting. Attack patterns changing. Then we change faster, Ethan said. Target the energy cores. Aim for their power links. The crew worked in silence, their movements fast and focused. And slowly, unbelievably, the swarm began to fall back. Council fleets watched in shock as humans did what no one else had ever done: push the swarm away. When the last wave retreated into the dark, the skies over Velora Prime cleared. The people below cheered. Ethan stood on the bridge, breathing heavily. Send word to the council, he said. Tell them we held the line. Sarah smiled. First to respond, she said softly. Ethan looked out at the stars. And not the last. But far beyond the system, deep in that dark region of space, something stirred again. The swarm signal pulsed one final time. Phase 1 complete. The humans have been noticed. For days, the council could not stop talking about it. Humans, the youngest species in the galaxy, the last to join the council, had done what no one else dared to do. They faced the swarm and survived. But instead of celebration, the council chamber was filled with fear. Councillor Vixar slammed his claws on the table. You see? Their recklessness will bring doom upon us all. The swarm has noticed them, and now, it will notice us. Another alien shouted, they acted without permission. They broke every rule of engagement. The speaker, a glowing figure of energy, spoke softly. And yet, they saved Velora Prime. Silence. Every alien turned to look at the speaker. None could argue. Still, behind the words of pride and diplomacy, there was jealousy and fear. The Council had done nothing while humans had acted. The galaxy had seen it. And far beyond the stars, the swarm was not gone. It was multiplying. On Mars, General Marcus Hale stood in the command center of Earth's defense network. A tall man with gray hair and tired eyes, he watched hundreds of screens showing shipyards, factories, and fleets. Ethan's report had reached him. The swarm was learning, adapting, and growing. If the Council stayed silent, the next attack would reach the core worlds. Hale turned to his engineers. "Activate Project Iron Sky," he ordered. The room went quiet. Everyone stared at him. "Sir, that's against Council regulations," one of them said. Hale's voice was cold. "Regulations won't save us. We fight now, or we die later." All across the solar system, the project came to life. Massive shipyards on Mars and Titan lit up. Hidden factories deep under the oceans of Earth began producing advanced warships faster, stronger, smarter than anything the Council had ever built. These ships were not made for defense. They were built to win wars. Weeks later, the news arrived that the swarm had returned, and this time, it was attacking Arinder, the homeworld of the Galactic Council itself. Ethan Cole was still in orbit near Velora Prime when the distress call came through. The transmission was chaotic, voices screaming, ships exploding, signals dying one by one. The mighty Council fleets were falling apart. "Arinder is burning," the AI Liberty reported. Sarah looked at Ethan. "Sir, that's the Council capital. Billions of lives." Ethan didn't wait. "Plot a course. We're going in." When Voyager Prime arrived, the sight broke every heart on the bridge. The great city planet was under siege. Thousands of swarm drones cut through the atmosphere like black fire. Giant tendrils of metal reached from space into the planet's surface, draining its energy. Council fleets were scattered, confused, firing in every direction. Ships crashed into each other. No one was leading. Ethan opened a channel. "This is Captain Cole of Earth's fleet. All surviving ships, form up on my command." No one answered at first. Then, one small alien frigate turned. Then another. Then 10 more. The humans' comm orders cut through the chaos like a blade. "Focus on the swarm cores," Ethan shouted. "Target the energy clusters." We hit them together. One by one, alien ships began to follow his lead. The battle turned from panic to precision. From the planet's surface, civilians watched as a line of ships, human and alien, formed a glowing barrier of light. General Marcus Hale arrived soon after with the full force of Project Iron Sky. Thousands of Earth-built warships entered the system, sleek, black, and powerful, their engines glowing like miniature suns. The sight was so massive that even the Council speaker whispered, "By the stars, they came." The human fleet hit the swarm from 3 sides. Massive cannons fired beams that tore through the darkness. Nuclear lances, plasma arcs, and railguns filled the void. The battle lasted 10 hours. When it was over, the swarm's remains drifted silently in space, broken, melted, defeated. The humans had held the line again. After the battle, the Council chamber was silent, truly silent. No one argued, no one mocked. The images of the battle filled every screen in the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Council's worlds looked not to their old leaders, but to Earth. Ethan Cole stood before them, tired but unshaken. "You can't debate your way out of extinction," he said. "You can't hide behind laws when the stars are burning." Counselor Vixar lowered his eyes. "What would you have us do, human?" Ethan looked around the hall at the races that once laughed at him. "Stand with us," he said. "Or stand alone. The choice is yours." Later that night, as Voyager Prime floated above Arinder, Ethan and Sarah stood by the window, watching the wreckage drift through space. Sarah whispered, Do you think it's over? Ethan shook his head. No. The swarm was just the beginning. The ship's AI interrupted them with a soft tone. Incoming transmission. Unknown origin. Ethan frowned. Put it through. The voice that spoke wasn't like any the galaxy had ever heard. It was deep, calm, and ancient, like the sound of a star dying. Humans, it said. We see your fire. You are not of the old order. You were not meant to rise. Sarah's hands trembled. Who are you? We are the architects, the voice replied. We built the machines you call the swarm. And now that you have destroyed them, we have returned. The transmission ended. The room went silent again. Ethan looked at the screen, his face pale but determined. Then we fight the ones who built the monsters, he said. Sarah nodded slowly. And this time, we lead. The galaxy had known fear before: wars, plagues, rebellions, but this was different. The name architects spread like a shadow through every system. They were the creators of the swarm, the ones who had built those world-eating machines thousands of years ago. Every race had heard stories of them, told quietly in ancient legends. The architects were said to be gods, once beings who shaped stars and built planets. But something had gone wrong. They vanished, leaving only ruins behind. Now, they were back. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of the USS Voyager Prime, staring at the message replaying on the screen. We built the machines you call the swarm. You have destroyed our tools. You have drawn our attention. The crew was silent. Even the AI, Liberty, didn't speak. Commander Sarah Blake finally whispered, so, the swarm was just their weapon. They were testing us. Ethan nodded slowly. And we passed the test. That's what scares them. He turned to his crew. Send every byte of this to Earth and the Council. They need to see what we're up against. Within hours, every major world knew the truth. The Council met in emergency session. The Council chamber was filled again, not with laughter this time, but fear. Holograms of burning colonies filled the air. Ships were vanishing near the galactic rim. Counselor Vexar's voice trembled as he spoke. We cannot fight the architects. Their technology is beyond us. We must surrender, negotiate. Ethan's voice cut through him. Negotiate? With those who build worlds just to destroy them. The speaker turned to him. And what do you suggest, Captain Cole? Ethan's eyes were cold. We fight. Together. The chamber erupted with noise. Some shouted in agreement, others in anger. An old reptilian counselor rose slowly. The humans have fought where we fled, he said. They stood when we fell. I will follow them. One by one, other voices joined. The council for the first time in centuries voted to unite under a single command. And the one chosen to lead, was a human. General Marcus Hale was appointed Supreme Commander of the United Galactic Fleet. Every ship, every soldier, every world would now answer to a single command structure built and led by humans. In shipyards across the galaxy, engineers work side by side, human, alien, and synthetic, building a new kind of fleet. It wasn't just Earth's design anymore, it was everyone's. Sarah stood at the massive observation deck on Mars, watching hundreds of ships rise into the sky. It's strange, she said quietly. We were the last ones to be invited to their table. And now, we're leading the entire galaxy. Ethan smiled faintly. Sometimes the ones who've walked through fire are the only ones ready to lead others out of it. Weeks later, scouts found something terrifying: a structure the size of a moon drifting near the edge of known space. It pulsed with red light and emitted low-frequency waves that made scanners fail. The message it sent was clear. We are coming. The Council panicked. But Earth didn't. The United Galactic Fleet assembled under human command. Thousands of ships gathered near Vega Station, forming the largest military force in history. General Hale appeared on every ship's screen. His voice was calm but firm. Listen well. The architects think we are divided. They think we will kneel. They have forgotten who we are, all of us. Humans, Zelarians, Trinax, Velorans. We are the living, and we do not kneel to our makers. The fleet roared with approval. Engines ignited. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. When they arrived at the edge of the galaxy, they saw it, the architect's fleet. It wasn't a fleet of ships. It was one structure, a massive, planet-sized fortress made of black metal and shifting light. Around it spun hundreds of smaller machines, each one the size of a mountain. Ethan whispered, "My God, it's a world that moves." The AI Liberty calculated the readings. Power output immeasurable. Estimated weapon capacity capable of destroying multiple star systems. Sarah clenched her fists. So this is what built the swarm? Ethan nodded. And this is what will destroy. The battle began with no warning. The architect's fortress released waves of energy that shattered entire ships in seconds. But the humans had prepared. Project Iron Sky's weapons fired beams of pure plasma that pierced through the darkness. The alien fleets followed, striking in perfect formation. For the first time, the galaxy fought as one. Every world's colors shone on the battlefield: Earth's blue, Velora's gold, Trinax's silver, all burning together in the black void. Hours passed. The fortress held strong, but the fleets refused to retreat. Ethan's ship led the assault, weaving through enemy fire, cutting down machine carriers one by one. "Target the core," Ethan shouted. "Focus everything on that red light." Thousands of missiles, beams, and torpedoes hit the same point and the fortress cracked. A massive shockwave threw ships across the system. Lights dimmed. Systems failed. And then, silence. When the smoke cleared, the fortress was still standing, damaged but alive. A voice echoed across every ship. "Impressive. The last time we saw such defiance was when we created your kind." Sarah's heart froze. What did it just say? "We made you," the voice continued. "Humanity is not born, it was built. You are our design, meant to serve. But you forgot. You rebelled." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then you made your biggest mistake." He looked at the glowing fortress on the screen and said, "Because we learned from our makers. And we learned how to surpass them." He turned to his crew. "Prepare for final strike. If we can't live free, then we'll make sure they never enslave another world again." The fleet began to move again toward the fortress, toward the heart of the storm. The architect's voice grew colder. "You would destroy your creators." Ethan smiled. "No," he said softly. "We'll free the galaxy from them." The stars burned brighter that night, as if the galaxy itself knew that history was being written. The United Galactic Fleet hung in silence, surrounding the massive fortress of the architects. Millions of soldiers waited. Every ship was damaged, engines smoking, hulls cracked. But no one turned away. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of the Voyager Prime, eyes fixed on the fortress's glowing red core. He knew what was coming. Everyone did. Commander Sarah Blake spoke softly beside him. "Sir, we don't have much left. Half the fleet can't fire. If we charge again, we won't come back." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe not. But if we don't finish this, no one will have a galaxy left to come back to." He looked out at the stars, where hundreds of alien ships waited for his word, all eyes on him, the human who had dared to fight gods. "Patch me through to the fleet," he ordered. Across the galaxy, screens lit up. Every captain, every soldier, every pilot saw Ethan's face. "This is Captain Ethan Cole of Earth," he began, his voice calm and strong. "The architects call themselves our makers. Maybe they are. But they forgot one thing when they built us: they gave us something they could never understand." He paused, eyes narrowing. They gave us the will to choose. The will to fight back. Silence filled every ship. Today, we fight not for Earth, not for the Council, but for every world that wants to stay free. So let's remind the galaxy what it means to be alive. His words spread like fire. From insectoid warriors to reptilian captains, from machine minds to human soldiers, all raised their voices together. The largest fleet in history roared in unity. For freedom. And then, they charged. The battle that followed would be remembered forever. The Architect's fortress opened like a flower of death, releasing storms of metal drones and burning plasma. Ships exploded across the battlefield, filling the void with light. But the humans didn't retreat. The Voyager Prime flew through the chaos like a blade of fire, leading smaller ships through gaps in the enemy's defenses. Target the core conduits. Sarah shouted. If we take those down, the fortress will lose power. Ethan nodded. All guns, full fire. The ship's cannons thundered. Railgun rounds ripped through the fortress's outer armor. Alien fleets followed, their combined firepower turning the black sky white. A massive explosion rocked the fortress. One of its energy arms tore free, spinning into the void. On every screen, the fortress flickered. The architects had been wounded, but they were far from beaten. A deep voice echoed again across the comms. You are insects, fighting your creators. You cannot win. Ethan gritted his teeth. We already have. You're talking to us. That means you're afraid. We do not feel fear. Then explain, Ethan said, why your fortress is running from us. The fortress began to move, retreating slowly, dragging debris behind it. But it was too late. The humans had already locked its position. General Marcus Hale's voice came through the intercom from his command ship. Ethan, we have one last option. The main fleet can't hold much longer. You know what to do. Ethan looked at Sarah. Her eyes were already wet with understanding. You're not serious, she said. He nodded once. The Voyager Prime's reactor core. If we overload it, it'll detonate like a small star. It's the only way to destroy that thing for good. Sarah shook her head. You'll die, Ethan. He smiled gently. Someone has to make sure the galaxy wakes up free. The order went out. The crew began evacuation immediately. Escape pods launched one after another, streaking across the battlefield like silver comets. But Ethan stayed. He stood at the command console, entering override codes. The ship hummed, growing brighter as its power core heated. Sarah refused to leave. You think I'm letting you do this alone, she said, standing beside him. He looked at her, the woman who had fought beside him through every battle, and smiled again. Then let's finish what we started. Outside, the fleets pulled back as the Voyager Prime charged forward, heading straight for the heart of the fortress. The architect's voice roared across the stars. You cannot stop us. We are eternal. Ethan's final message echoed across every frequency. Then let's see how eternal you are when a human knocks on your door. The Voyager Prime struck the fortress's core and exploded brighter than any sun. The shock wave traveled across light years. Every ship, every world, every star system saw the flash of white fire that burned away the darkness. And when it faded, the fortress was gone. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the council speaker's voice broke the silence. The architects are gone. The swarm is gone. The galaxy is free. Cheers erupted across every planet. From the smallest moon to the largest station, people cried, screamed, and sang. The humans had done it. Months later, on Arinder, the council gathered one last time. This time, there was no debate. No laughter. No arrogance. The speaker rose and said, "For centuries, we guided the stars. But when darkness came, it was humanity who led us through it. From this day forward, the council shall be led by those who earned it. He looked toward the human delegation survivors from Voyager Prime, men and women wearing Earth's blue insignia. Humanity, the speaker said, you were the last to join the council, but the first to lead it. The hall erupted in applause. Even Counselor Vexar bowed. Sarah stood among them, her eyes glistening. She whispered to herself, he kept his promise. Outside the council chamber, above the shining city, a monument stood, a single piece of dark metal from the Voyager Prime, floating silently in a beam of light. Engraved on it were the last words Captain Ethan Cole ever spoke before his ship vanished into the fire. If we must fall, let it be forward. And below it, carved for all the galaxy to see. We were the last to join the council, and the first to lead it.